For the rear motor mount, you're going to first want to install the 4mm in diameter machine nuts into the motor mount itself. So what I've done here is I've installed the nut and I've held it in place using a 2mm machine screw. Once you've done that and it's nice and secure, make sure it is sitting straight, then you're just simply going to apply a small amount of CA glue to the outside of the nut. So here I've applied the CA glue. Try not to get any onto the actual screw itself, otherwise of course it's going to be locked in there. Just let it dry, and once it's dry then you can remove the screw and the nut should stay in place. So here I have the two nuts inserted into the motor mount, and they are both CA glued. Right now they're both drying. So while you wait for those to dry, you can now simply take a 2mm tap and tap the post, the disc damper post hole. Okay, it's very important to do that. I find that if you are using any machine screws on any of the 3D plastic material, it's a good idea to always tap them before putting them in. So once you have everything installed into the motor mount, so those two nuts and your post, then you're ready to attach the motor mount to the chassis, which is just like a MR03 suspension system. So you're going to use a T-plate on the bottom and a disc damper plate on the top. So this is of course what it will look like in the rear when you have it all complete. So once again, notice I have the post right here. My motor's inserted and mounted into the motor mount. At the bottom here we have the T-plate system. So I'm using a Kyosho medium T-plate and the MC3 high-speed stability kit. So the rear differential on the Formula 1 car is a little bit different from an MR03 in that the fact that the tire sits very, very close to the spur gear. This is an LSD spur gear, and I had to modify it in order for it to work. So this is what it normally looks like when it comes right out of the package. So you can notice that it has these sides to it. So what I've done in order to modify it to work with the differential is take a pair of wire cutters and simply gone around and cut off that extra piece. You actually don't need that, but that's what causes it to bind against the tires. So you're just simply going to go around, cut off all that extra plastic quite easily there, make sure it's nice and flat, and then you can now see the difference between the left side and right side. So the one side is flat. I'm going to do the same thing to the opposite side, and when you've done that, of course, once again, it will look like this, and notice how there's a nice space between the spur gear and the tires.